Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. So you're going to see me in a different place. I'm at a rental property we own. I'm doing some showings and I have some time in between showings. And you guys know I like to take advantage of every free minute I get, right? I like to just use my time wisely. So I figure while I'm here, let me just make a video to answer a really great question. If you're new, welcome. My name is Shalise. I'm a mother, wife. We are real estate owners. So, we are, this is a property that we're renting out. I do have some pictures. I'll put some up on the screen so that you guys can see. But we really like this house a lot. It was one of the first houses we've ever owned. And, just the rental market around here is really hot. And these types of homes are really great because they're great starter homes for people. And, great home in the suburbs, decent schools, near a lot of transportation, restaurants, shops, stores, and things. So, yeah, so I'm just here, doing some showings and things like that. But I got a really great question about when you're trying to start your retirement journey, your retirement early journey, like what are some accounts you should have first? So I figured let me just make a video about that because that's a really, really great question. When I first started 11 years ago, these were things I really didn't know. Let me tell you guys, no one sat down with me and said, hey, you need to think about this account, that account, that account. I will tell you that the first quote unquote bank that I knew of growing up was a check cashing place. And they are not a bank, but when it came to like cashing checks, maybe getting like payday loans or things like that, they were always kind of associated with check cashing places. And so that's what I knew of. It wasn't until I got my first real job that I went to an actual bank. So that's the first account that I think any investor, or if you're trying to start on your retirement journey, and again, not financial advice, but I mean, like I said, I've been through the thick and thicker when it comes to this financial journey. And I think having experience, knowing what, to do, what not to do is also a great teacher. And so having some type of high yield savings account is key before you even start investing, for early retirement or traditional retirement or anything. So that's the first account I think everybody should have, is some type of high yield savings account, not just a traditional savings account, because the interest rate is very, very low. You can get a much better interest rate with a high yield savings account. And I'm going to actually put in parentheses, a checking account too, but most preteens, teenagers usually start with some type of savings account because it helps you to kind of stick to a budget. It helps you to become a good manager of your money before you even think about getting into the stock market. Okay, you want to make sure that you have some type of savings put away just in case something happens and you need to access that money, because you don't want to have to resort to a credit card or withdraw from a retirement account because you don't have enough saved. So that's something that I teach to my daughter. And she does. She has a couple of accounts, but definitely a savings account. So once you have a good savings account open, you want to next open up some type of, and this depends on if you're trying to do early retirement or traditional retirement. So let's say you want to do early retirement, okay? You should definitely try to take advantage of any type of taxable account. And the reason why I say taxable accounts is because if you are trying to retire at 45, well, you really cannot access a 401k. I mean, there's loopholes, but traditionally you cannot, and you can pay a penalty and a lot of taxes if you access one before 59 and a half. So that's why I'm saying taxable accounts, because though you will have to pay tax, and that's just something we all have to do, right? Even on YouTube, right? I get paid from YouTube. I have to pay taxes. Rental property, guess what? I have to pay taxes. So the idea is to really structure your finances that will benefit you the most. Having a taxable account allows my husband and I to access money from our investments whenever we want to, okay? So we don't have to worry about penalties from the IRS. As long as we buy and hold into good companies, we'll have to pay long-term capital gains tax, which is always very, very little. So compared to what we pay out of our day jobs, right? So I always say, if you're going to retire early, definitely try to look into a taxable account. If you're trying to retire, traditional retirement, definitely take advantage of your employer-sponsored accounts like 401ks. Roth IRAs are great, and that's whether you're retiring early or not. Again, all of us, whether we're retiring early or not, want to eventually access those tax advantage accounts. So you want to make sure you're structured based on of your plan. So I'll give you a great example for me. I'm 40 years old. I would like to, if I had to stretch it out a little bit, I would say let's say 45. That'll give us extra time. I know many people think we can retire early now. I just wouldn't feel comfortable doing it right now. Number one, because I want to have our taxable accounts like around 300 to 400 grand. Ideally 500, just taxable accounts, because we're still young, especially in the government's eyes. So there's no way I can depend on a 401k. There's no way I can access my contributions out of a Roth, but I have to wait 5 years. And then like there's a little bit of loopholes, but ideally 59 and a half for a Roth too. We have an HSA, which is great, but we're trying to like save that for like health expenses, if that makes sense. Yeah, you can kind of scan your receipts, upload them to the cloud and pay yourself back. But because we know how much healthcare is going to be in the future when we really need it, having that money set aside just for co-pays and deductibles if we had to get medications, prescriptions, whatever. Like, and a lot of things you can actually use your HSA to buy, like braces, feminine hygiene products, just like different, you can actually get like some therapy, some type of massages and things like that using your HSA. So we would like to keep that set aside just for like those types of expenses when it comes to our health. Now, of course, we're doing our best to eat better and making sure we are active and going to our doctor's appointments. And this is, let me just interject a disclaimer here, you know, an important info segment. Okay, this is your sister. You need to make sure that you're going to your doctor's appointments, especially if you're paying for them through your job. Many people do not go to the doctor. That's their primary. For ladies, it's GYN. Dentist, eye doctor. You need to be making sure you're going to your appointments to take care of yourself. If you are 40 and over like myself, or you have history of cancer in your family, you need to be getting a mammogram or whatever else you need, just to make sure that, and doing your monthly exams to make sure that, you know, you're taking care of yourself. But our HSA is, we're trying to keep that now just for our, you know, medical related type of costs, which is, you know, great thing. But in terms of our specific plan, again, because 45 is like the number now, because we're considering inflation and all of that, we have our savings, which I talked about. That's the first type of account. We have our taxable accounts because we're trying to retire early. We need to have some type of liquidity to access that won't penalize us. And then the third type is like your retirement-based accounts. Those are your 401ks, your IRAs, HSAs, if you have one. If you get a pension, God bless you, because most of us don't get one nowadays. But if you get a pension, that's another resource that you can use in your later, you know, years that you have access to. I will tell you that in many of our numbers, we don't include Social Security at all. If we get it, great. But I mean, even in 20 years, I will be 60. And then I think the earliest you can access Social Security is 62, I think. So you're talking about 22 years. And that's if we access it early. Like, we don't include it in our numbers. It'll be great to have when that time comes, but we're trying to really just factor in, you know, utilizing accounts that will help us and help support us when that time comes. Again, we're landlords, right? So that is another income source. I will say when we're old, the plan is not to really be managing any properties, but to sell them, and ideally, if we can't sell them, pass them to our children. And I would love to be one of those parents that can, like, you know, sell my daughter a home for a really, really, really good price, and we just walk away with some money that can, you know, we feel like we, you know, made a little profit, but she got into a house that is so cheap because, you know, it was, you know, she bought it from mom and dad. So, you know, we do have the rental properties. I do have side businesses. So, you know, I'm able to access like a solo 401k because MT is a whole entity of itself. And I know many of you say, you know, you can go have, you know, full-time into MT. I will say this, that's the goal, but the algorithm can change up on you, you know, and, you know, things can change. So I want to make sure on the back end we have some type of cushion in case it takes a while to get off the ground. But I love MT and everything around it. But I also try to be realistic. I have children that, you know, need things. And I want to make sure that as of right now, anyway, the 9 to 5 is just, you know, doing the best at making sure we can have some type of stable income. Though, again, I don't mind going full steam into Mommy Trader, but that time will come, and it will come, you know, when it's supposed to, and we'll be prepared on the back end in case, you know, things take a little bit of time to get off the ground. But just to answer your question, yeah, those are the 3 types of accounts I would start with. Again, savings, some type of high yield savings, some type of taxable account, especially if you're trying to retire early, because you can access the money. And then of course your tax advantage accounts and tax-free accounts. Like Roth IRAs are tax-free because they grow tax-free, but that is with after-tax money that you're putting in there, okay? So it is taxed on a front end, whereas your 401ks and stuff is taxed on the back end or later end. But you can have many of these accounts. I know many people that have a taxable account, and they have several types of taxable accounts like we do. Some people have, in addition to those, they have Roth IRAs. If you're married, your husband, you know, your spouse, and you can have one as well. If you make more than the threshold, you can do the backdoor Roth IRA like we do. If you have a side hustle, I know there's SEEP IRAs and simple IRAs and solo 401ks. You know, there's a lot out there. And I think what I'm going to do, especially towards the end of the year, really try to break these types of accounts down into detail and talk to you about how we're going to utilize them specifically. That'll make a good series. Now remember, this is our journey. Your journey is not going to match my journey. That's not what this is about. You want to make sure that you are following your strategy because it's your money and your account at the end of the day, no one else's. And that's how we invest as well. And it's been working out, right? I mean, the markets are at all-time highs, though we have little pullbacks. And also we're approaching a time of year where we're starting to think about rebalancing our portfolios. This is something we do twice a year, sometimes 3 times depending on the market. But I think everyone should be looking at making sure you're looking at the balancing of your portfolio and making sure you are allocated the way that you want, and that you're not too much into one type of sector or fund and that wasn't your intention in the first place. And that's why I'm always talking about, you know, our share size goals and pausing, because we already have enough over here. We need to focus on building up something over here to make sure our portfolio isn't too lopsided in one specific area. If you're into crypto, you can have a separate crypto account. I like to have my stuff separate versus co-mingling. Like, I don't want an account where I'm doing dividends and like have crypto and growth. Like, I kind of like things separated because I can manage it a little bit better. But again, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go because the person did not show up and I'm going to get out of here. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, you share, and you subscribe. Tickle that notification bell so that you don't miss an upload every time I post a video. And until next time, I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.